Hello. Take a minute and talk to you if I could. Just about talk to some young men out there, maybe some men that aren't so young, just about some things that happen in life. Just thinking today over some of my past, some of the past that's a little funny and some I'm not maybe so proud of. One of the times, you ever put the S in the S word in your life? And what I mean by that, you ever put a capital S in front of the word stupid and you're the one who did it? Oh, not the S word you were thinking of. I was thinking about a time in life, and I think we all have times like this that we go through, but there was one character that I had in my life that really made a big difference at that point. And the situation was, I was in high school. I was a senior, and we were taking our class trip. And I got into some foolishness. It's a little more serious than just foolishness. It was just some really stupid things that I did and was involved with on that trip. At the time, unfortunately, in today's world, they may not seem that serious. At the time they were, and the reality is they should still seem that serious today. To get back to it, at that time, we were on that class trip, and I made some decisions and caused some issues, me and a couple of friends of mine, that were stupid and got classified that way, and of course we got caught. So there were some ramifications that need to be dealt with. We got back the next couple of days and involved parents and going through the normal things you would go through. I remember being in the office, and there were a couple of faculty people and some admins there. And in my opinion, they were being, when I look back at now as a grown adult and somebody who has my own background and related fields, unprofessional and doing things they shouldn't have. But at the time, it didn't matter. I had made the decisions I had, and they had free roll to do what they wanted. And they were discussing me in front of me and making statements about the poor decisions and the impact it would have and things on my life. They weren't wrong in their facts. I think they were wrong in their delivery, and they were taking a young man and just pushed him a little farther down than he was feeling at that moment. And I remember distinctly, and I think on this not often, but throughout the years I have, and I even thank the man later on for that one of the coaches that had been on that trip that I knew, not real well, but I knew casually from going to school for all those years, walked in the room and called him. His name was, I'll just go by Coach K. That's the beginning of his last name. He walked in, they were doing that, and they looked at Coach K and they said, well, I guess Coach K, I guess you would never ever want to take this young man any place with you again. And he said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, after the things he did and the problems he's caused, I'll never forget. He walked up to me, put his arm on my shoulder, looked them straight in the face, turned to look me straight in the face and said, I'd be glad to take him today, tomorrow, any day of the week. He's a good young man. No different than anybody else. We all make mistakes, don't we, Bob? Patted me on the shoulder and he said, I'd be proud to take him with me any place, anytime. He turned around and left the room. I will tell you, I needed that at that moment. And the others in the room did not know what to say. Without overtly stating it to them, he had called them out on their actions and reeled them in where they needed to be. Hey, I'm not saying what I did wasn't wrong. What I did was wrong. However, at times you don't need to be kicked when you're down. Maybe you need to be corrected. Maybe you need to pay the price, which I did. But you don't need to be kicked when you're down. What you need is somebody to come along, look you straight in the face and say, hey, it's okay. Just because you made one mistake doesn't mean we need to throw you out with the trash. Some of you out there may not have had a Coach K to come by put an arm on your shoulder, look you in the eye, and say, you know what? It's okay. I'll hang with you. I'll go back out. I'm not embarrassed of you. I'm not ashamed of you. And I just want to take a minute and talk to you about that. Maybe you're a young man out there, maybe not so young of a man, maybe you're in your middle age, I don't know, and you think back on mistakes you've made in your life. And you're embarrassed about those mistakes you made in life. And maybe you should be rightly embarrassed about those. There's things I've done in my life I'm rightly embarrassed about. But you know what? Every now and then, you need to have a Coach K or somebody come along, look you straight in the eye and say, hey, it's okay. You can recover from this and you can go on. You're not defined by this bad decision. You're not defined by this moment. That was yesterday. You've got tomorrow. Now tomorrow you need to make better decisions and you need to go on, which I started doing. I will tell you though, that was of many a defining moment in my life. A man I respected, a man that did not have to do it, was willing to come over, look at his peers and his colleagues, and take a stand for somebody who needed it. If you haven't had that, I'd like to take a minute and just tell you, you know what? You can recover. You're not defined by your past. You can define your future going forward. If you've made bad mistakes, if you've made, stumbles, bumps in the road, and those weren't things that other people pushed you into, I'll tell you, nobody pushed me into it. I went along on my own free will. I could even say that I was an instigator in the whole process. But you know what? I was a young man. I was a kid. That could have sent me down a road of bad decisions for one piling on the other, or I could have somebody who steered me along and moved me in the right direction. I would see him in the halls after that, and after I graduated, I would see him out in public. He would smile, wave, hey, how are you doing, Bob? Everything going okay? He continued with what he had said, that he wasn't ashamed of me, he wasn't embarrassed to be seen around me. And granted, it's not like I had created the cardinal sin, but I had made some poor decisions. I don't want to put them out here because I'm not proud of it. But in life, we have to take where we're at, decide what we're going to do going forward. Are we going to keep going down that road, or are we going to make a change? And you may have people that are piling on. You may have people that are saying, hey, what you did was bad. What you did was wrong. You can't succeed after this. Look, you've tagged yourself with this label. You know what? Blow them off. Dust them off your shoulders, shake the dirt off your feet, and move on. You may not have a Coach K physically there, but you may need to look in the mirror yourself and say, you know what, Bob? You made a mistake. We're going to make better decisions going forward. The other thing I would challenge you to do, if you see somebody, a young man, an older man, one of your peers, maybe a family member, whoever it is, that makes that bad mistake, they're the ones that people are piling on. You be the Coach K. You go up. You put your hand on their shoulder. You look at them when they're in their dark times, when they're in a deep spot, and you say, you know what? I'm not ashamed to be seen with you. Let's go have a cup of coffee. You want to talk? You want to hang out? You need somebody just to be with you? You need to know that somebody will spend time with you, talk to you, encourage you. It doesn't take a whole lot. Sometimes people just need a few kind words when the world's piling on. They need a few kind words when things are going dark around them to flip the switch on and let them get their feet back under them and move forward. And I'm not saying that they don't need to pay a price for the bad decisions they've done, but they need to know once that price is paid and once they've done, they can go forward, that they're not labeled for the rest of their life, that they're not tagged for the rest of life. Now, granted, there are some things out there that are bad. There are some grievous things that people do, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about silly, stupid decisions that we do through life, or that as a young man, I will tell you, the majority of the regrets the majority of the silly decisions, the poor decisions that I made in my life, one reason I do these and I say I want to talk to young men out there, were between the ages maybe 14, 15, up to 20, maybe 21. Most of them, there was a 5 to 7 year window where I was making decisions that were silly things that could have taken me down a bad road. When I look out in society today, I see that with young men still. That age range is a critical age. And what I've realized, a lot of people don't have the benefit of what I had. They don't have men that will call them out. They don't have a father or a grandfather or somebody at work or a good peer group, not a bad peer group that's going to drag you down the road, but a good peer group that will bump them in line. They don't have people at a solid church or educational background that will move them along in the right direction. And I just wanted to talk to those people and talk to that group and say, hey, you know what? You can make it. You can recover. You can shake off the bad decisions, put one foot in front of the other, and start walking in the right direction. I also want to encourage those of you that are out there that come across young men, older men. Now it's in every stage, every age, every walk of life. We need to stand beside each other. Doesn't mean we don't need to hold each other accountable, but you need to put your hand on each other's shoulder and say, you know what? It's going to be all right if you want it to be all right. May take some work, may take some time, but I'll be here with you. I'll be here for you. And I'll walk with you as we go down this road. And you know what? You can watch my feet and you can follow in my steps, because I'm doing okay and I'll show you how to do okay. That's just something that's been on my heart and been on my mind. I just wanted to put out there. If you see somebody that's stumbling around, that's made bad decisions, be a Coach K in their life. Put a hand on their shoulder. Pump them up, lift them up. You don't have to knock them down. It may mean that you've got to stand up to your peers that are putting them down to do that. And if you're the one that's stumbled, that's fallen, going through a hard time, I just want to let you know and remind you, you know what? You can do better and you can have a brighter future. You can move forward. You're not defined by everything that's happened in your past. You can define your future and not carry your past with you every day. That's what you did. It's not who you are. Anyway, if you would, if somebody out there you think needs to hear this, if you would, please like the video, share it with them. I appreciate it if you would subscribe. That lets me know whether or not anybody is actually seeing this, listening to it. If there's something you would like me to talk about, if you have any thoughts or comments about what I've said, agree, disagree, please send those back to me. But I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good day, hope you have a good week, hope you have a good month, and hope you have a good year. Thank you.